Hello again, everybody, and welcome to our Cashion installment of Coaches Corner, powered by Skordle. I'm Todd Miller. We're visiting with head coach Lynn Shackelford. His ball club remained unbeaten last week with a heart-stopping 7-6 road victory in the Class A state semifinals at Pawhuska. Coach, congratulations. Have you had time to kind of decompress from that? Because that was an emotional roller coaster of a football game.
Yeah, no, it was it was a crazy night. I don't think probably anybody associated with either team or anybody in the state of Oklahoma thought that game was gonna end up being 7-6. But it was nerve-wracking, probably standing on the sidelines. Probably watching it. It's probably a great game to watch. I've heard tons of people tell me it was an awesome football game to just watch. So from that standpoint, yeah, it was great. But the nice thing about it from a football coach's standpoint is we got to wake up the next morning and realize we had to play Thomas. So, a lot of those thoughts of euphoria kind of went away pretty fast, and reality slapped us in the face that we got to go beat a really good football team on Saturday.
Shaq, I thought it was really fitting maybe that a guy like Landon Lagasse makes the game-winning play, because your offense gets so much attention around Harmon and Caden Harrell and Braxton Green. But Lagasse is a kid that just goes to work every day, gets better every game, and has made some big plays for you during the course of the season.
No, he really has. Landon's he's played really well this year. And I don't know how many people know this, and I think you and I talked about it after the game on Friday. He didn't play football from sixth grade until last year. He came back out and decided he wanted to play. And, by the middle of the year last year, he was playing quite a bit for us on defense at corner and a little bit on offense. And then, this year has been playing both sides of the ball, and it's gotten better, as the season's gone along. And, he's kind of a quiet, unassuming kid. But when he's had opportunities in games, man, he's really made the most of it.
I'll tell you who made the most of it too on Friday night was Broadbent on the defensive side of the football. He was really, really good.
Yeah, no, Justice has been really, really good for us for the last 2 years. It's kind of weird. He spent the last 2 years, the first 3 or 4 games hurt. He did it last year and came back after about week 4 and ended up leading us in tackles. And if you go back and watch our Pawnee game last year, our Reeling game last year, I mean, he was in on almost every tackle, just physical. And then, over the summer, he broke his leg at a team camp. So he missed the first 4 games or 5 games for us, I think, this year. But he's already, I think he's our second leading tackler right now. He's missed, a third of the season. So he's played really, really well, and we're going to need him to play really well on Saturday night too.
You remarked to me in the post-game show that the biggest surprise from Friday night was not even the score. It was how much better in person Pawhuska's defense was.
Yeah, no, they were really, really good. The more film you watched of them, as the week went on last week, I kind of had a sinking suspicion that they were better than what everybody thought they were. And I made a comment to one of my assistants is, if they're as excited about being physical as they are athletic and big, then we could have a big problem on our hands. And they were definitely that. I mean, they were better than advertised, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you they're the most physical football team we've ever played, because in 17 years we've played some teams that didn't mind hitting us, but they were every bit as physical as anybody we've seen over the years. And I will say this, that it was a little bit of a testament to our kids that there's in years past, I don't know how we would have responded to that. And I thought Friday night we responded as well as we could, and we hung in there and kind of kept taking their blows, and were able to kind of make a play at one point.
Would you say, Shaq, that that's one of the best defensive games you've had at Cashion in a while? And I'll tell you this, and here's why. In the first half, your average starting field position was about the 8-yard line. Yeah. And you've got Bryce Drummond on the other side with a short field most of the half to work with, and you go down into locker room trailing just 6-0.
Yeah, no, I don't think there's a close second as far as defensive performances that we've had since I've been here. And I'll be honest with you, Todd. This isn't a big shock. I mean, we haven't been very good on defense around here. Last year we kind of started to turn the tide a little bit, and we had some really good defensive games last year. I thought the game against Pawnee last year was as good as we've played in a long time, just based on how good they were and what they like to do and things like that. But for no more help than our offense gave our defense on Friday, and the field position that we had and who they had on that side of the ball. I thought our kids were extremely resilient and just kept battling. That's something we've talked about, and it's kind of coach speak, and we talk about it all the time, but, just play the next play, play the next play, play the next play. Don't worry about, what happens. You got to have a short memory. You got to do all those things, all the cliche things that, every coach tells every team on Friday night. But I really thought that our kids did a great job of that. And, understanding that it was 1st and 10 and we were trying to get to 4th down and get off the field, and it really didn't matter where on the field we were. That's a long way to get back to, yes, that was probably the best defensive performance we've had, and hopefully we can have one more Saturday night.
Cashion head football coach Lynn Shackelford is our guest here on this edition of Coaches Corner, powered by Skordle. Shack, I know you're not going to get into the actual details about the health of your football team, but you have to be a little bit concerned because you guys had some guys really banged up on Friday night.
Yeah. And the crazy thing is, Todd, we're playing our 16th football game on Saturday, at a Class A school with, 45 kids on the roster. And, 10 of those kids are 14-year-olds that you hope to God never have to step out on a football field on Friday night and play against 18 and 19-year-olds. So, we're beat up, sure, but, that's Bob and I have talked about this for years, and I've talked about this for years. In Class A and probably 2A is a lot like this, and Class B is a lot like this. It's, it's such a war of attrition, and a lot of times it probably comes down to, who has the best 11 kids, by this time. Not necessarily the best team, but who can piecemeal together the best, 11 to be out there, and, who can battle through what injury the most. But our kids they're kind of used to this. We've got some kids that don't really practice a whole lot, and we throw them out there on Friday nights, and we're kind of in that boat again this week. And we'll see what happens. When Saturday night rolls around. But sure, you play 16 games in 17 weeks. If you're the Dallas Cowboys, you're going to be beat up. So if you're the Cashion Wildcats, you for sure are.
Let's talk about the matchup with Thomas. Everybody thinks you automatically have the advantage going in. You won 28-7. That game was so early in the year. Don't you agree? It's almost like it didn't even happen. They're two totally different teams.
No, for sure. The first thing that I noticed, and I told our kids this, the quarterback of Thomas, Coach Ward's son, I think that was his second game he'd ever started. And he started 10 games or 11 games since then. And you can tell, you watch him on film, he's a whole lot better now than he was back then. They're just a lot more comfortable in their skin doing what they like to do. And the stakes are so much more, and I think there's something else that probably a lot of people don't realize is, you get behind week 3 or 4, whatever it was when we played them, then you're on the road, and at some point maybe it sinks in that, hey, it's a non-district game, and, we just need to get out healthy and whatever, but that won't be the case on Saturday night. It's everybody's football life is on the line, and, Thomas has 16 or 17 seniors that, they've had this group of kids has been circled around in Thomas for, 7 years. This is going to be the next group that wins the state championship. So we'll have our hands full for sure. There's no doubt about that. And the game that we had with them last time, I think, was 14-7 going into the fourth quarter. And we made some amazing plays in the first half to even probably be up 14-7. So it'll be a war Saturday night for sure.
You guys have really gotten into a rhythm now to where you expect to be in a state championship game every year. But you as a head coach know better than anybody that success in this game is not guaranteed. You appreciate every year in its different realm, don't you?
Oh, for sure. For sure. We talk about it all the time around here about how every season's unique and every team's different. And, we've brought back teams that, like last year's team, we brought back every starter but one, but the team was completely different from the season before. This team's completely different from the year before. And, and I hope our kids and I hope our community and everybody else that's been, associated with us the last couple of years has appreciated the ride to get here way more than the outcome. I know that's probably easy to say when you haven't won a state championship, but I talk about this with our kids all the time, and I'll talk about to them regardless of what happens Saturday night, win or lose. I mean, I don't want to be defined by one game. I don't want to be defined by 3 games, and I don't want my kids to either. I want to be defined by consistency and what kind of kids are we putting out, and how is this road that we go down every year, how does it translate to success in life? Regardless of what happens Saturday, I really hope that's where we are, and that's what my kids take from all of this.
This year I've learned one thing: how much you really truly love and respect your counterpart, Bob Ward at Thomas. Does that bother you at all to have to play a guy that you respect and admire so much with all the stakes in the world on the line?
No, not at all. Not at all. I would, there's guys that are in the coaching community that I'm really, really good friends with. There's guys that I'm acquaintances with, and then there's guys that I don't know or haven't known very long. And I would pick, I would pick playing Thomas in the finals every year if I could, just because, I know what kind of team Bob's going to have. I know Bob does it the right way. I know his kids are great. They're going to play their tails off. They're going to have a great plan. And at the end of the day, if we're fortunate enough to beat them, Bob's gonna hug me, and he's gonna tell me congratulations, and he's gonna mean it from the bottom of his heart. And if Thomas gets us Saturday night, I'm gonna do the same thing, and I'm gonna be happy for him that he's able to win another state championship. And I would be shocked if he was anything but that, if we were able to win. I mean, at the end of the day, there's a whole lot more on the line, in a high school football game. So no, I'm excited. I'm eager to get going. Bob and I talked on the phone yesterday. I'm sure we'll talk a couple more times this week, and it'll be fun playing them.
Congratulations, my friend. Doing a great job in Cashion. Good luck on Saturday night as you go for your first gold ball as a head coach. You won many as a player, and we're certainly proud of you guys.
I appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me on.
Lynn Shackelford, head coach at Cashion, our guest here on Coaches Corner, powered by Skordle.